Do you work remotely? If so, how do you like it? Hi, I'm curious about your experience as a web developer who works remotely. What does your day-to-day look like? Do you miss going to the office? How is the async communication? What's your story? I'm full-time remote and I love it. Pros: no time wasted commuting, no money wasted commuting, no extra pollution due to commuting, no unpleasant colleagues around, perfect working setup, less distraction, less stress overall. Cons: often I work longer than I should, less breaks from the screens. Communication with the team is pretty good. One quick stand-up in the morning through Zoom, and if needed, quick calls one-to-one and one-to-many sharing the screen to mutual support within colleagues. I don't miss the office at all. redditstatic.com/marketplace assets/v1/emotes snoomoji emote/free emotes packs wink went gif twinth style vertical align. Exactly my thoughts. I'll only add that once a month I do go to the office, but that's just for fun. Almost zero work is done that day. I'm back at the office. Mandatory. 4 days a week, and my productivity absolutely nosedived. All I do is talk to coworkers, bitch about work, and distract myself. But for real, one thing that's not on the list that should be for the pros is not getting COVID or flus. My coworkers are so scared to work from home that they come in with illnesses. We do that too. We tend to walk around the city eating food mostly. Bosses know about it, and they actually encourage it. Just not on the company dime, lol. It's nice though. Just a one-day in-person sync up where you just shoot the shit and bounce ideas around. Yes, me also. Another pro, I get to live in a beautiful place miles away from commuters. Home. Home. Often I work longer than I should. I like the approach that most German companies seem to follow here. Gleitzeit. Basically, every minute you work is tracked on an account, and when you work more one day, you can work less on another day. If you accumulate a full day of overtime, you can just take one paid day off, in addition to the standard 30 paid days. We do this at my company in the States. As long as we hit 25 hours billed, and keep our project manager informed on if we're taking a weird schedule, no one cares when I work. This is an interesting approach. I work in a small company, so the environment is relaxed, and if one day I need to finish a little bit earlier, it's not a problem. I like this kind of flexibility, but for sure, the Gleitzeit approach is fairer for employer and employee. How are you supposed to track that without privacy-invasive tracking? FYI, waist, the general centerline around the torso above the hips, aka your waistline. Waste, use or expend carelessly, extravagantly, or to no purpose. So you would be wasting time if you commuted and would have wasted money commuting. Hope that helps. Nice one. Thanks for the correction, mate. You don't have refinements or other bullshit meetings. We use Kanban and we keep the ceremonies at the minimum. No retro, demo with review when we deliver a new feature S. Refinements, yes, but usually when we, the team, receive a new feature to implement, we tend to raise spikes to then produce stories and subtasks, so the refinement is concentrated just at the beginning. To be fair, I think our approach is doable just because we are a small company. I can't see it working with a bigger structure. There are around 200 devs who work on different domains of our product, and each team is about 15 to 20 people. We do pretty much the same thing: monthly sprints, refinement, and pointing at the beginning of each other, and a retro every 2 months. If someone's starting out, should they be looking for remote jobs or in-office jobs first? Whoever will pay you. Yes, you forgot less time interacting with coworkers. Could be good or bad, and your bills are going to go up. You're home an additional 10 hours a day. I like to throw that latter one at people who say working from home is cheaper. The cost just shifts, it doesn't disappear. What additional costs are you accounting for? Electricity, food, company resources such as pens, pads, etc. Exactly. Basically, you're using more electricity, water, and gas if your house has a gas heater, etc. at your home by working there. Also, the incidental stuff. One of my favorite little takeaways from the whole toilet paper shortage thing that happened a few years back was it turned out it wasn't people hoarding, it was people working from home needing more toilet paper at home. The flip side is I'm not paying for gas for my car or losing time commuting, which has value. I'd still bet you come out ahead working from home, but the only way I'd expect you to come out ahead is if you moved outside of a city and still kept a similar pay band. But usually companies just pay you a regional rate, so you're not actually saving a whole lot of money if the pay bands are well structured. If you can keep your salary and move to the middle of nowhere, then all other arguments don't matter. Do the move. If I could keep my salary and move away from SF, I 100% would. But I can't, so I don't. Plus, I quite like it here. Full-time remote. I'm fairly introverted, so it works out really well for me. I don't need or want a ton of human interaction every day while I'm working, so the benefits of the lack of commute, access to my kitchen, being able to grab my laptop and go work from wherever like a coffee shop or cafe is really nice for me. I also work as a one-man team. I'm the only developer employed at the company, but I have a subcontractors I can hire for projects when the workload is high. Being in the office wouldn't change how I communicate with them, so yeah, it works really well for my situation. I have the option to go to the office, but my team is fully remote and our dailies are at 9 a.m., so that screws with my morning routine. Currently looking to change jobs, and sadly, the coolest offer would require at least 3 days in the office, also in a different city. I think changing cities would be great for personal development, but I also know my ADHD brain. I am my most productive self if I can work in burst whenever I feel like it while wearing what I want. These luxury problems. I am extrovert. I post on Reddit, but hard of hearing. Office is hell for me because all the socialization and real-time work communication is kept so low volume that my hearing aids cannot pick it up. I work remotely, although I've never worked in office as a developer, so take this all with a grain of salt. My first job was for a company 2 hours ahead of my time zone, and my current employer is a company 3 hours ahead of my time zone. It's a blessing and a curse. 1, I'm never asked to come into the office because of the distance. 2, it's a curse because, although I don't really have to, I gotta be up early to align my schedule with the East Coast folks. But 3, it's also a blessing because I start at around 6:30 a.m. and get off at 2:30 p.m. So I've got a ton of the day still left over for a personal life. It's great. As far as communication, we have a means of getting help from more experienced developers or the entire team as a whole, as well as personal channels to directly personal message folks, which is great for just socializing, sending memes, or asking for specific help on something. Lack of communication has never been an issue, and I very much like the status quo of my position. TLDR, I love it. There are a lot of benefits, and I think other people in this post do a good job of enumerating those. I want to emphasize that it is very lonely. I am extremely introverted, and I find that not being forced to communicate with people in person regularly has made my social anxiety worse. I don't feel like I am a part of a team, which makes clocking in every day a bit harder. Same, but as someone married with a family, I get plenty of social interaction from them. If I was single, I'm not sure how well I'd handle working remotely. I've been remote for nearly 10 years and have absolutely loved it. But as of this school year, my kids are all in school full-time now. My wife has started working off and on. The days that she is gone are some of the hardest days for me. I have grown accustomed to noise and activity. When the house is empty, it's really lonely, and I have to play music or put in a movie in the background, or I get kind of sad. Same. Remote work is very comfortable for me, but my social anxiety is at all-time high. It's a vicious cycle, because the less I see people, the more I get stressed out by the prospect of seeing people. This was what I was going to mention. Yeah, the pros and cons everyone else laid out, but lonely was missing. Sometimes it be like that. I'm an introvert more so than extrovert. To combat the loneliness, I try to reach out to others more and do more activities with friends and join local clubs like Passions, as well as do local service and volunteer work, like building websites for free for local 501c3s, as well as nerdy things like a local JS front-end dev GroupMe. Try to meet more people to be able to hang out with outside work. Forming friendships can sometimes be tough for me, and it's certainly getting easier, even though I feel like I'm pretty laid back and easy to get along with, though I may be biased, LMAO. Also, a workout routine for the week, 3 to 4 times in the gym, and a walk or hike outside the gym. For me, the main thing is just getting there. Mind, body, and spirit kind of thing. I've lost a significant amount of weight. Plus, sometimes friends swing by and we can catch up on my breaks or briefly when typing up some emails. It's nice. Remote dev. It has its pros and cons, but it's mostly pros. I think once you are at a mid-SAR level where you can comfortably complete tasks without needing a lot of guidance and are just generally familiar with the ins and outs of the corporate world, it's a lot better. I think I would have struggled if my first job as a dev wasn't in person. But overall pros are not having to pack a lunch, no commute. I can screw around on Reddit/YouTube/ go for walks freely once I'm done with my work. Usually have about 2 actual hours of work a day. Cons are pretty hard to build an actual relationship with coworkers. Maybe some places do it better, but I feel like the planning stages of work don't work as well remotely. Lots of people I believe are not paying attention at all. I'm guilty of it sometimes too. It's easy when your camera is off. It's the only thing I give faith to about in-person work is that juniors really need the person-to-person interaction. When I needed help as a junior, it was a lot easier to just lean over and go, "Hey, can you look at this?" Other than that, I'm all about full remote. I used to work hybrid, but a few months ago our office was moved to another location which is quite far from my house, 1.5H, and in-office was optional, so I just went full remote. Pros: extra time, cause there is no commute. Better sleep, cause for me that extra time goes TL my sleep. I usually wake up like 10 minutes before work. I don't have to pay for lunch since I can just cook myself something. More comfortable. For example, for a 1-week sprint, it usually takes me about 3 work days of full-on focus working, and for the rest, I just watch shows or game if there are no problems with my tickets. I'm a junior, so the tickets I get are usually not that challenging. That's why I can finish early. But when I'm in the office, I will always have someone looking over my shoulder and will need to at least pretend to work. Also, I'm getting paid a little above minimum wage, so please don't come at me for not doing 100%. I do whatever's given to me and always tell them they can give me more work. Unlike others, it has affected me more positively physically. I would usually be tired from the road when I got home and wouldn't feel like working out, but now go to gym more regularly. It's not like I was walking around while working at the office. Cons: communication. It's usually easier for me to talk and explain myself face to face, so it's a bit harder on text or calls. Working remote since COVID, and it's the best thing ever happened. It can be boring sometimes when you are alone in your room, but I got much more time than before I can use for other stuff. I work remotely and love it. No commute and access to my kitchen has been great for my health. Can hit the gym most days at noon and skip the crowds. Mostly just run errands in the morning while I'm still groggy and do most of my work at night when I'm fully awake and attentive. Being in office wouldn't allow me the freedom to work like this and be so much more productive. We have a 50% remote policy, so I tend to work from home at least a few days a week. I like it for the days when I know I'm just doing a few tasks. For meetings, I don't mind remote, but there's always someone with bad audio or some echo or some damn thing, so often it's just more pleasant to gather in a room for it. I don't think I would do well with 100% remote though, as I'm already an introvert who tends to self-isolate. So the days I do go to the office is kind of nice because I actually meet people again. I work remote and I love it. I'll never work in an office again. The only downside for me is it's easier to get distracted. My last job was fully remote, and my current one is hybrid, 2-3 days in the office per week. Remote is nice to an extent. Pros include a 30-second commute, full access to your kitchen, the ability to change scenery when you need it, and having a setup that's perfect for you and only you. Cons include a lack of human interaction. I had daily video chat stand-ups, but otherwise it was all Slack chats, which can't replace talking to another person. Another con is that you may not leave your house for days, depending on your schedule and habits. Hybrid is a nice happy medium for me. I still regularly see others and can collaborate, but I also get easy days with a short commute and more of an opportunity to focus heads down. Cons include a lack of human interaction. I had daily video chat stand-ups, but otherwise it was all Slack chats, which can't replace talking to another person. For me, this is a huge positive. I have no desire to become close to work colleagues. I lead a fulfilling and busy social life outside of work, and I didn't choose to be around any of these people. Being in the office just means lots of wasted time chatting and forced socializing when I could just be getting my work done faster and getting home to the people I care about sooner. When I started my new job, I was invited to the offices. It was an absolute maze of cramped team spaces, separated by white half walls. I felt like I was in the Matrix movie. Never seen anything like it in 10 years of experience. I got lost at least 4 times on my first and only day there, both in the factory halls and in the office maze. People were laughing as I was passing by and saying, "Don't worry, you'll find your department eventually. You'll stop getting lost after a few weeks." Yeah, they'll only ever see me for half-year events, if ever. Working remotely is super chill, though. My team is nice, pay is great, benefits are great, programming robots is fun. Slack chats, which can't replace talking to another person. As an introvert with social anxiety who used to work 100% in office, now 100% remotely, what do you think the benefits of in-person collaboration are? In my experience, most meetings have at least one person added remotely, voiding any physical whiteboard advantages. And for me, asking people in person is a much bigger hurdle than just quickly calling them. IDK might just be my extreme introvertedness speaking, but whenever an interviewer wants me to come into the office more than once every few months, I terminate immediately. What do you think the benefits of in-person collaboration are? Being able to walk a maximum of 10 feet to ask a question with an immediate answer is a lot more appealing to me than typing something into the ether and waiting maybe tens of minutes for a response. Rinse and repeat for follow-ups. If I have a quick code question or need a second opinion, it takes less time to take my laptop to another developer than it does to send a Slack message, set up a Zoom, connect, share my screen, then ask the question. I'm in at most 2 hours of meetings a week, 1 hour of sprint planning/check-in, and a 1 hour all hands. Being able to walk a maximum of 10 feet to ask a question with an immediate answer is a lot more appealing. Sure, if that was the case for everyone, but it can take me 5 to 6 minutes to walk over to the person I need to talk to, and 30% of the time find an empty desk. If I ping someone when they are active, 90% of the time they respond within a minute. This is where how you send messages makes a world of difference. I have colleagues who send 4 to 5 messages of "Hey, how are you?" etc., instead of just sending me one long message with the question initially. I believe it's called no hello. That still doesn't negate the delay getting a response, as well as any follow-ups from either side. No, but it's a lot better than the alternative. You even mentioned in your comment doing all this prep before the question is even asked, which you don't have to do. On the flip side, being deep in thought or solving a bug and having your coworker come interrupt and expect your immediate time attention sucks too. I've been thinking about a hybrid role more and more. I like my fully remote job, but I would not mind doing something different 2 days of the week. Going into the office and socializing, collaborating, With full remote work, I still crave socializing to some extent. Spending 40 hours a week holed up in my office and only communicating through Slack or Zoom is a bit doom and gloom for me. My wife also works remote, but she is busy too, so we are alone most of the workday in our offices. I work in a hybrid model where we're expected to come to the office 1 day per week, but I don't always do it since it's not exactly mandatory. I personally find it very good since I prefer working at home, way healthier, more productive, and able to take care of loved ones more than when I worked full-time in the office some years ago, but also enjoy the times in the office since the people are very nice. I go when I feel good about going or when there might be some valuable interactions. If I want to have a change of environment and pace, I can just go to the office and I usually come back fresher. Also, there were some days in the office that allowed me to have very productive eye-to-eye conversations that started good relationships with members from other teams that provided some very good outcomes for future tasks. And I guess that feeling of being part of a team. Like I said, personally I think that balance is very welcome, but I don't see myself going back to full-time in the office at all. I guess only if it paid significantly, better than other options. The best mix I ever had was being 5 minutes from an office where I only had to go on Tuesday and Thursday. Although the company was large, I only interfaced with 2 other devs and a few UX/UI designers. It was nice to have some camaraderie, play the occasional ping-ping, not be home strong all the time, but still be able to get a lot done on MWF. I've made friends at every job, whether it was on-site, hybrid, or fully remote. I'll never pick 10 hours a week of traffic over remote, but we'll do well to remember that we are human, and human interaction isn't bad. Again, this is my personal preference. I'll probably never have that mix again, as most people usually won't live 5 minutes from an optional office.